You're scrolling through your phone late at night, checking your bank app for the 10th time today. That paycheck hit just last week, and already the balance is dipping low. Way too low. You've got rent due, groceries to buy, and that coffee run this morning that you swore would be the last one. You're making decent money, say around $80,000 a year, nothing crazy but enough to get by, right? Your folks did fine on less. But here you are feeling like every dollar slips through your fingers like sand. You cut back on eating out, skipped that weekend trip, yet the account still looks sad. It's frustrating, isn't it? Like you're working hard but getting nowhere. Hello, I am Sam. This is where your financial mindset starts to change. Before we dive in, what time is it where you are? Which country are you watching from? Leave a comment and let me know. And please hit that like button and subscribe to become part of the Sam Smart Investor community for smarter money decisions. Today, we're breaking down why your bank account feels empty even when you're not blowing cash on dumb stuff. The real reasons might surprise you, and yeah, they'll probably take you off a bit. Back in 2010, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research looked at thousands of folks just like you. They weren't splurging on fancy cars or vacations. In fact, after adjusting for inflation, people were spending 20% less on fun stuff than in the 1990s. More careful with money, you'd think. So why were so many still scraping by? The researchers found something sneaky. It's not the big buys killing your balance. It's the hidden leaks that add up without you noticing. Take a single earner back in the 1990s pulling in about $50,000 adjusted for today. Their monthly bills ate up around 60% of that, leaving plenty for savings or extras. Fast forward to now, and even with the bump to $80,000, those same basics, rent, utilities, food, gobble up 75% or more. You're earning more but keeping less. It's like chasing a moving target. Let me tell you about Liam and Emma. They're in their late 20s, both working solid jobs. Liam's in sales, bringing home $55,000. Emma is a teacher at $48,000. Together, over $100,000. They live in a simple apartment, nothing flashy, but every month they wonder where the money went. Last week, their fridge broke. Bam, $800 on a credit card. They thought they were good, but those little drips turned into a flood. And if you think that's rough now, just wait till we dig into how everyday habits are quietly draining you dry. So Liam and Emma are sitting there one evening, staring at their budget spreadsheet like it's some kind of enemy. They've got rent at $2,200 a month for a decent one-bedroom in the city. Utilities and internet run another $280. Groceries, they're trying to keep it healthy, hit $650. Car payment on one reliable sedan, $420. Gas and insurance, $320 combined. Phone bills, $180. That's already $4,050 gone before they even think about fun or savings. Their take-home after taxes is roughly $6,200 a month. Sounds like they've got breathing room, right? Wrong. By the time small stuff sneaks in, that cushion vanishes. Here's where it gets real. Back in the late 90s, a family making the equivalent of $70,000 today might spend 55% of their income on the must-haves. That left real money for building something, emergency cash, investments, or just peace of mind. Today, even careful couples like Liam and Emma see 70 to 80% vanish into the same basics, but way more expensive. Rent's up huge in most cities. Food prices keep climbing, and don't get me started on insurance. Auto and health premiums have jumped 40 to 60% in the last decade alone. You're not lazy or bad with money. The game changed around you. But the sneaky part? It's not just the big bills. It's the quiet drips that nobody talks about enough. Subscription creep, Netflix, Spotify, gym app, meal kit trial you forgot to cancel. Easily $80 to $120 a month. Coffee or lunch grabs because you're rushed, another $150 to $200. Those small Amazon buys that feel harmless, $100 here and there. Added up over a year and it's thousands leaking away without a fight. Liam noticed it first. He tracked one month super close. Turns out they spent $340 on eating out or delivery just because it was easier. Emma was shocked. They weren't partying, just surviving long days. And then came the surprise bill. Emma's car needed new tires, $600 out of nowhere. Credit card again. Interest starts ticking. Now they're paying yesterday's convenience with tomorrow's money.
The math starts to hurt when you realize these aren't luxuries. They're the new normal just to keep your head above water. And if one thing breaks or one paycheck logs, boom, you're in the red. But hang on, because the biggest leak isn't what you think. It's the one hiding in plain sight that makes everything feel twice as hard.
The biggest leak isn't the subscriptions or the takeout, it's the invisible tax on your paycheck that nobody warns you about. It's called lifestyle creep, mixed with modern survival costs, and it hits harder than you realize. Liam and Emma thought they were being smart. They got raises last year. Liam up $5,000, Emma up $3,000. Felt good for a minute. Then the extra cash quietly disappeared. Rent went up $150 because the building updated amenities nobody asked for. Groceries jumped another $80 with inflation. Their car insurance spiked $40 a month after a small claim. That raise, gone before they could celebrate it. Back in the day, a pay bump meant real progress, more savings, maybe a nicer vacation once in a while. Now it mostly covers the rising cost of just staying in the same spot. Studies show that for middle-income earners, about 70 to 80% of wage increases get eaten by higher fixed costs within a year or two. You're running faster just to stand still. Let's run the numbers on Liam and Emma again, but slower this time so it sinks in. Their combined take-home around $6,200 a month. Fixed must-haves we already tallied, $4,050. That leaves $2,150. Sounds decent. Now layer on the real-world extras that feel necessary. Subscriptions and streaming, $95. Eating out or delivery twice a week, $180. Coffee and lunches at work, $120. Gym memberships and apps they barely use, $60. Random Amazon stuff and household items, $150. Clothes and personal care because you gotta look presentable for work, $100. That's another $705. Now you're down to $1,445 left for the month. Savings, emergency fund, investments, maybe $300 if you're strict. But then life happens. Doctor's visit with a $150 copay, birthday gift for a friend, that random vet bill for the dog. Suddenly the account's hovering near zero again. And if they try to save more aggressively, something always breaks. The washer, a tooth filling, tires. Credit card balance creeps up. Interest eats another chunk. This is why the bank account feels empty. It's not one giant mistake, it's death by 1,000 small cuts that society now calls normal. You're not failing, you're just playing a game where the rules keep shifting to take more from you. But here's the part that really stings. Most people stay stuck because they don't see the pattern until it's too late. And the fix starts with flipping one simple mindset switch that changes everything.
That mindset switch? Stop treating every extra dollar like it's already spoken for. Most people get a raise or bonus and think, cool, we can finally upgrade the apartment, or let's get a better car. But that's the trap snapping shut. The second you let your lifestyle expand to match or beat your income, those empty account feelings become permanent. Liam and Emma almost fell into it. After their raises, they started looking at nicer places. We deserve it, they said. Good schools nearby, bigger kitchen, but something stopped them. They ran the numbers one night and saw the truth. Moving up would lock in another $800 to $1,000 more in rent and utilities every month, forever. Their extra money would vanish, and the empty feeling would get worse. Instead, they decided to flip the script. They kept living like they still made their old salaries. The raises, they pretended the money didn't exist, went straight to a high-yield savings account. First goal, build a real emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, not the skimpy $2,000 they had before. They automated it so the cash never hit their checking account. Out of sight, out of mind. Here's what that looked like in real numbers. Their combined take-home stayed around $6,200. Fixed costs, still $4,050. Then normal extras they cut back on hard. Eating out dropped to once a week max, subscriptions trimmed to essentials only, no more impulse Amazon buys. They saved $400 to $600 extra each month from those small changes alone. Plus the full raises, another $500 to $600 net after taxes went right to savings. In 6 months, they had $8,000 stashed. A year later, over $15,000. For the first time, a surprise bill didn't mean panic. The fridge died again, paid cash. No interest, no stress. But the real game changer was treating their bank account like it had two jobs, one to cover today, one to build tomorrow. They started small investments too, not crazy stock picks, just boring, steady index funds, $200 a month each into low-cost ETFs. Compound interest isn't sexy at first, but it adds up quiet and fast. Liam started sleeping better. Emma stopped checking the balance obsessively. They weren't rich overnight, but they weren't broke on payday anymore. The account had a buffer, options, breathing room. And if you're thinking, yeah, but my costs are higher, or I live in an expensive city, hang on, because the exact same fix works even when the numbers feel tighter. The secret is in how you draw the line between need and nice to have.
The line between need and nice to have is where most people lose the battle. Liam and Emma redrew that line hard. They asked one brutal question every time money was about to leave their account. Would this hurt us if we skipped it for 6 months? If the answer was yes, it stayed. If no, it got cut or delayed. No judgment, just math. They kept the apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was paid on time every month. They kept the one car and drove it till the wheels begged for mercy. Groceries? They switched to meal planning, bought in bulk at the warehouse store, and cooked most nights. It took effort, but it saved them $250 a month easy. Subscriptions? They shared accounts with family, dropped the ones they barely used. Streaming went from 4 services to 2. Small wins stacked up fast. Then came the fun part, redirecting the money that used to vanish. They set up 2 buckets. Bucket 1, emergency fund. Goal was 6 months of expenses, around $25,000 for them. They hit $10,000 in 8 months by throwing every extra dollar there. Bucket 2, investing. Once the emergency cash felt solid, they started $300 a month into a simple index fund that tracks the whole stock market. Nothing flashy, no day trading, just steady. They used a robo-advisor to keep it automatic and low fee. Here's the cool math that starts to feel like magic. At 7% average annual return, which is what the market has done long-term after inflation, $300 a month grows to about $50,000 in 10 years. Bump it to $500 when they get more comfortable, and it's over $80,000. That's not lottery money, but it's real wealth building while they sleep. And because they never increased their lifestyle to match the income, every raise or side gig just poured more into those buckets. Liam got a promotion 6 months in, extra $8,000 a year. They didn't celebrate with a vacation, they celebrated by bumping savings to $700 a month total. Emma picked up summer tutoring for cash. Same deal, straight to investments. Their bank account stopped looking empty because it had purpose beyond just paying bills. It had a growing safety net. It had future freedom. They still have tough months, car repair here, holiday gifts there, but now there's no scramble. They dip into the emergency fund if needed, then rebuild it. No more credit card debt snowball. No more where did the money go fights at 11 p.m. The shift wasn't about becoming cheap, it was about becoming intentional, about saying no to small leaks so you can say yes to bigger things later, like buying a house without being house poor, or one day quitting a job you hate because you have options. But the real power comes when you see how fast this snowballs and why waiting even one more month costs you way more than you think. Waiting even one more month costs you because time is the real multiplier in all this. Every dollar you don't redirect today misses out on compound growth tomorrow. Liam and Emma learned that the hard way at first. They waited 6 months after their races to start the serious savings push. In that half year alone, they could have had an extra $3,000 to $4,000 growing if they'd moved faster. Doesn't sound huge, but over 10 years at market returns, that's another $8,000 to $10,000 they left on the table. Small delays turn into big regrets when money works for you instead of against you. The fix isn't complicated or extreme, it's just consistent. Draw your line. Cover the true needs first. Housing, food, transport, basics. Cap them at one level, even if income climbs. Everything above that line goes to building your future. Emergency cash first, then investments. Automate it all. Set it and forget it. Treat raises like they don't exist for spending. Use them to speed up the buckets. Track monthly, not obsessively, just enough to spot leaks early. Ops make it easy now. One for budgeting, one for high-yield savings, one for simple investing.
Liam and Emma are 2 years in now. Their emergency fund sits at $28,000, more than 6 months covered. Investments? Over $45,000 and growing. They still live in the same apartment, drive the same car, but they sleep different. No more late night bank checks. No more guilt over a $10 coffee because they know the account has purpose. They're not millionaires, but they're not empty anymore. They're building, quietly, steadily. You can do the exact same thing. Start tonight. Look at your last 3 months of spending. Find the drips, the subscriptions that just this once buys, the raises that vanished. Redirect one thing, even $100 a month to start. That's how it begins. One intentional choice snowballs into real security, real options, real peace. The empty bank account isn't a life sentence, it's a signal. The system pushes you to spend everything that comes in, but you don't have to play along. See the leaks, plug them, redirect the flow, and watch how fast broke turns into buffered. You've got the map now. The only question left is, are you going to keep staring at the empty screen or start filling it on purpose? Thanks for watching. Drop a comment. What's one small leak you're going to plug this week? Hit like if this hit home, subscribe if you want more real talk money fixes, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your money. It's taking care of your future.